kids in the UK arrested for trying out Kali Linux, Tor, and Discord. In the UK, there has been an incident where parents were urged to call the police on any kids who were trying Kali Linux, Tor browser, and Discord, as these tools are apparently only used for nefarious purposes. But why the fuck do the cops have to keep being the incompetent pricks they are? Instead of arresting people for using Linux and privacy tools, why aren't you guys catching the real criminals? Linux users are easy targets since the police know that they are oftentimes the ones who engage in illegal activities online. So the fact that you have Linux installed on your system tells the cops you're trying to hide something from them. Do you not think the cops can tap into your computer and see what system it's running? Of fucking course they can. They can tap into it at any time, and if they believe you're up to no good, they will come down on you like a ton of bricks. So, even trying Kali Linux is a crime according to British police, but what makes it inherently illegal? Using Kali Linux by itself doesn't make it a crime to use Kali Linux. However, using Kali Linux to perform illegal activities is obviously illegal, and since Kali is popular amongst hackers and pen testers, even trying it can get the cops on your doorstep. The kids were also allegedly using Tor browser, which means they are naughty little hackers who will grow up to be nefarious Linux users. Well, you dumb pigs need to understand that not everyone who uses Linux is a criminal, and that arresting people for using things like Tor and Linux is not going to make a material difference to everyday life. But since Linux users are a prime target for law enforcement, the cops are happy to go around and arrest innocents just for installing Linux on their computers. It's now becoming a crime to think for yourself and not support big tech. You dare try a Linux OS, and we will come and arrest you. But you see, arresting your way out of every problem is not the right way to go about things. You can't just send all the Linux users to jail because you think they are all cyber criminals. Yes, some Linux users do engage in illegal activities, but they generally are smarter than the average police officer of the UK, or any police officer anywhere for that matter. Them cops not too bright. They think that anyone who uses Linux is a terrorist, or a hacker, and that anyone who even thinks about using Linux must automatically be worth investigating. But you must know that it also costs a lot of money to prosecute or execute a person. It's not like arresting people is not going to bring hefty charges for the cops too. It costs money to put people in prison, so imagine how much money would be wasted if the police decided to arrest every single person using Linux, or even trying a Linux distro. It would be insanity, people rotting away for practically no crime whatsoever. It just seems absurd that the cops are now cracking down on free and open source software, because any free and open source software is only used for nefarious purposes, or at least that's what the cops want you to believe. They don't want you having any form of freedom, privacy, etc. And this is why it's illegal to even think about using Linux. And with the level of corruption in the legal system, you really expect the cops to do the right thing. They are more likely to arrest someone for trying a Linux distro than someone who is engaging in serious felonies, because to them, a Linux user is far more worthwhile investigating than someone who poses a real danger to society. Seriously, you think the cops are here to protect and serve? If anything, they are there to seek and destroy lives. And anyone who uses Linux is now facing the threat of having legal action taken against them, simply because it's becoming illegal to use a Linux distro of any kind. Even Ubuntu can land you with some hefty charges and jail time, only because police are abusing their authority and power to make up non-existent crimes that were never even real in the first place. It's not like 20 years ago, using Linux in of itself was a crime, but nowadays, using Linux is a crime. Even Linux by itself can land you in prison. Watch my video on how using Linux can land you in prison. Now of course, you have to be very unlucky to be on the receiving end of police corruption and incompetence, but if someone's kids can find themselves facing serious legal action just for trying out things like Linux and Tor, then what does that tell you, you fucking idiots? It tells you that our freedoms are being eroded and that the cops are now arresting people who choose to not support Microsoft, Apple, and Google, simply because the cops are driven by the fact they have to fill out a certain number of quotas. So if the cops need to quickly get their quotas, they can go and arrest some Linux users, because Linux users are very easy targets and law enforcement is more likely to investigate you if you use Linux, even if you do not use it for illegal activities. That does not mean the cops won't investigate you for using Linux. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next video. Bye for now.